How many of you have gotten off of work or school and you sat down to game, you only have an hour or two, and you cannot decide what to boot up and what to play? You sit there looking at your Steam library. So many games you've never tried from Steam Sales Pass or maybe Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, wherever you play, and you just cannot decide what to put the time into. You know this 1 hour is precious. You know you need it to recharge your batteries because school, work, whatever it is coming again tomorrow. You end up staring at the screen and eventually just pull up YouTube, binge, and then your hour's gone and you kind of feel horrible. Why does this happen? And I want to talk with you about it because this has been happening to me recently. Is it the fact that you're getting older? Is it nostalgia? Well, I'm going to sort of break down my thoughts and opinions on this. Now, I've been pretty sleep deprived lately. I've started working nights, everything's super expensive, and so my time for gaming in the last 3 weeks has been very compressed. And I literally have gone through the scenario I just described, where I know I've got an hour available. It's a precious hour. And yet I cannot figure out for the life of me what to boot up. I want to get the maximum enjoyment out of this time because I know it's so limited. And as such, when I look at the list of games, I begin putting a bunch of pressure on myself. And that pressure makes me even less motivated as I'm sleep deprived to ultimately make a choice. Sometimes when we're presented with way too many choices, it's been shown that our human psychology just gets overloaded and we can't make a decision. We get stuck in analysis paralysis. And for many people, if you've been gaming a long time, your library can get big very quickly. It doesn't mean that you don't enjoy games or that you just don't know how to have fun anymore. It just means that the pressure is overwhelming you, especially when you're tired. You know, you don't want to take a chance of picking something that you don't enjoy or like. What if you wasted that 1 hour? And this leads us to indecision. Now, I used to play StarCraft 2 a lot. When I was in college, loved Halo, but at the time, Halo was being taken off of the MLG circuit around Halo 4 time. And around that same timing, StarCraft 2 was becoming the darling of MLG and also Twitch and Justin TV at the time, and then ultimately it turned into Twitch. And I loved StarCraft 2, but it is a game where you have to make hundreds of choices every single minute. In fact, they measure the choices and the actions that you make in a term called APM, actions per minute. And crazy good pro players will consistently play at like the 300 to 400 mark, sometimes jumping up. Now, every action, is considered like a click or a box or building a building, selecting a resource. But when you watch a talented pro, you really do see that they're making hundreds of decisions in such a small time frame. And you know what? A lot of times they make the wrong decision. When they're under such immense pressure in a game like StarCraft, there isn't always the time to sit there and think and debate really what is the right choice. Ultimately, they're having to go with their gut reaction. And I learned when I was playing StarCraft 2, sometimes you just have to make a choice. Whether or not it's the right choice doesn't always matter. You don't always have the time. Sometimes just making a choice is the right choice and sticking with it. Even if that decision led to me stimming my Marine army into a bunch of banelings and losing the game, it was still better that I made a choice rather than sitting in indecision, because I probably would have lost the game either way. I've been doing YouTube now for 10 years, over 10 years actually. I started in college, and one thing I have learned, and it's something I need to hear regularly, and I hope you hear this too, stop putting unfair pressure on yourself and on your free time. If you want to play a game, just boot anything up. There isn't a wrong choice. Seriously, maybe you didn't pick the ultimate perfect selection and you didn't get the most enjoyment out of your hour, but just giving yourself some you time to recharge is what matters. Hey, and also, if you boot up the game and you don't feel like playing it and you want to just watch YouTube or whatever, go do that. You need to hear this. You're doing good. You need to be nicer to yourself. When we reach this point where we're putting so much pressure on ourselves and our free time, you are probably at a stage right now in life where you are stressed and there is a bunch of stuff occupying all of your mind space. And literally the best thing you can do is some self-care. And to literally, when you have those thoughts of like, what if I'm wasting my time with this choice? Just push back right against it. Take that thought, throw it in the recycle bin of your mind. There's nothing wrong with going back to a comfort game, something you've played 10 times over, something that you love, something that you know gives you some enjoyment. At the same time, too, if you've got a big backlog screaming at you, the game that's been nagging, and you're like, I just got to finish this game. You know, I got 30 hours into it. I feel really bad I didn't finish it. Everybody loved this game. Look, if you want to go finish it, sure. But don't force yourself. You're not having to write a book report on a title. Like, case in point, I'm playing through Elden Ring second time right now. I've talked about it a few times on the channel. I'm loving the second playthrough way more than the first time. I thought the game was brilliant when I was playing it on the Xbox when it came out. But I wasn't looking up guides. I was getting overwhelmed, and I stopped at the game. I'm not going to say exactly where, but pretty far into the game, and I didn't feel motivated to pick it back up. But here I am looking at all these videos online about what an incredible, perfect, amazing, superb game it is. Feeling pressure like, oh man, what did I do? I need to go back and finish it. I'm totally missing out on all this stuff. Well, screw that, unfair pressure, right? It took me 2 years to go, all right, now's the time. I'm starting a fresh playthrough. And because I was at the spot where I wanted to, not because of social pressures or online hype or popularity, because I wanted to at the time, I've enjoyed that game 10 times more. This is your reminder. Be nicer to yourself. Stop putting pressure on that free time. Don't worry about making the wrong choice, and try and refill and recharge when you get the opportunity. I look at the audience demographics and the ages of my viewers, and I know these are periods of time where life is hard and stressful. Your responsibilities are growing exponentially. So many things are changing, whether you're fresh out of college or you're having a kid or something like that. A lot is changing. And so any opportunity you get to refill and recharge, you should go for. As long as it doesn't disrupt, obviously, the really important things. And in many ways, this video is just as much me talking to you as it is me talking to myself, to remind me that when I'm looking at that Steam library feeling guilty, I don't need that. Just boot something up that I love and run with it. So with all that said, I hope you have an awesome start to your weekend. Play something fun, recharge, do whatever, and we'll see you again in the next one.